In this video, we're going to talk about prompt level templates and how you can set those up. Prompt level templates are one of the building blocks of a program. It tells you what prompts that you can assign while you're taking data to each individual program. So you're going to start by going to Settings, Programs, and then Prompt Levels. So you can have as many different types of prompt levels as you want, and we'll create a few different kinds and see how they show up on the data sheet. So first is the basic prompt level template. So you'll name that here. And then you can add your prompt levels. So we typically recommend starting with your independent response or kind of whatever you would consider a correct response, and turn on that as a successful outcome. This means that will be marked correct on the graph. And then you can add your additional prompt levels here. You can have a full kind of prompt hierarchy, as many as you want. You can have a simple plus minus, yes, no, independent, prompted, whatever, the sky is the limit. And then you can change your colors as well. So you can have whatever color scheme you want, which is helpful for analyzing the prompt level data. And then you can choose whether you want to use that as a default template for adding new programs. That would be across your entire organization. And then you can save your prompt level template. And then let's see what that looks like on a data sheet. So here's my basic skill acquisition program. I have my targets, and then I have this one has a full prompt hierarchy here. I have an option with just yes, no, and I have or plus minus, and then I have an option with just independent prompted no response. So lots of different options there for you to take that data kind of however you want. There's some other options for prompt level templates, so let's go look at some different settings. So back over here in the prompt level templates, you can hit this gear icon, and I have a couple of different advanced settings. So the first is this outcome measurement. The default is going to be what we've already seen, the successful or unsuccessful, whether you just mark if a prompt is correct or not correct, right? Or successful, unsuccessful. The other option is weighted. So this assigns each prompt level a different weight. So that it would score, instead of 100% or 0%, you could maybe do 100%, 60. If you want to see different prompts at different weights. Oops. So this is an option for a variety of different programs. If you're tracking different values and you want to see it at different prompts, and let's see what that looks like on the data sheet. So over here we have our different targets, and you can see the different prompt levels here, and then you'll see that it counts as 0.2 out of one trial, and it's going to count up with that weight that you assigned each prompt level. Okay, so the next setting over here on the prompt level template settings is going to be, we'll turn that back on there. If you ever switch those, make sure to turn those off as successful outcomes. And then the next option is automatic prompt level fading. So what this does is give you hints, like it says, to what prompt level to use. So let's look at what that looks like on a data sheet first, and then we'll talk about how to set it up. So in this example, you can see that it's telling me what prompt level to use. So in here, I can select here, and it's showing me you should be using a physical prompt. And then based on the criteria that I set, it will fade up to a lower level prompt. And then if I get it incorrect, we'll start to fade back down to a more intrusive level prompt. So let's talk about how to set that up. You have two options here, so you can do it most to least across trials or across sessions. The setup process is the same, just was if you want to fade those prompts within that session or across sessions. So let's look at across trials. So here we have our settings. There's a couple different options you can pick. Your initial prompt level, you can choose errorless. You can choose the last trial from that target's probe session, so when that target was in the probe status, or the mass trial probe, so at the least prompt level from the last probe session. So it depends on your processes or how you like to run that, which you pick. And then you can choose your percent correct, where you want to decrease prompts and where you want to increase prompts. So let's say if it's at 100% matched across 2 trials, I want to decrease the prompt level, so move to a less intrusive prompt. And if it's at 0% matched, I want to, across 2 trials, I want to increase that prompt level, so use a more intrusive prompt level. So that matched means if the prompt level recorded matches the prompt level that's showing on the data sheet, on that target level of what you should be using. So here I have my prompt levels. You have an additional option here to exclude from prompt fading. So you can have a separate option that staff can hit, maybe no response that staff can hit, but it's not going to include that in the prompt fading criteria. And then last is you can choose whether you want to see a simple plus minus during data collection. So we'll see what that looks like on the data sheet. So here we've seen what that looks like, that prompt fading, what that looks like across trials. If you use a simple plus minus, you are going to get the option to either do a minus or what the current prompt level is. Let's do that. And then it will switch to verbal. And then if I mark incorrect, we'll start to go back down the prompt hierarchy. And then we have options for across sessions. So here you're not going to see that change during session because it's not going to change until the next session. And then the same option for here using a simple plus minus. It will still remain the same during this session and fade across sessions. So the next time I go in, that prompt level might be different depending on the data from this session. So the last type of prompt level template we're going to talk about is a clicker prompt level template. So this is what we recommend for like duration or frequency targets, where you really just want one option because you want to be able to click to start the timer for the duration or just click for one occurrence of the behavior happening with a frequency target. So in this case, you're going to label it clicker or something similar, and then you're just going to have one prompt level. So you can turn this on as a successful outcome. I'm just going to say here it was an occurrence of the behavior. You can name this kind of anything you want. It will not show up on the data sheet for when staff are taking data. So you can also have this be a non-successful outcome if you're tracking, depending on kind of what you're tracking. But typically we would recommend this one occurrence as a successful outcome. And then what it looks like on the data sheet is for your duration target, you will just start the timer and it will start counting up. If you have a different prompt level template on it, when you click it, you would have the option for the different prompt levels like we've seen on the other targets. And then for frequency target, you'll just click to count that occurrence. So that's what a clicker prompt level template will do for you with just one option on the template.